Hello and welcome to this free training. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. It means a lot that you want to sit and listen to me speak and listen to what I've got to talk about. Second of all, a little bit of housekeeping. At the end of this video, I will explain and talk a little bit about my new course, or not new course, but my course that is coming up. It is just going to be a nutrition intake, but I just want to clear the air and say, first of all, you don't need to stick around and listen to that. And second of all, there is no expectation just because you've signed up and you're listening to this free training that I expect you to sign up to any other offers. So yeah, I just want to say that this training is absolutely free and hopefully you will get something out of it. If you do get something out of it, I would love for you to take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and give me a tag, or even just send me a DM and let me know if something resonated or that you got what you learned out of today's session. Now, let's get into it. So today I want to talk about energy balance. Now, most of you have probably heard about energy balance, and especially when you come into the fitness industry, you hear about energy balance when we're trying to lose weight, you're trying to gain weight or whatever. It's probably something that has come up in conversation with the coach you're working with, or you've heard it maybe on Instagram. There's someone going around, calorie deficit. That's all you've got to worry about. And I think some people are overcomplicating it and some people are oversimplifying it. And what I want to do today is just explain what it is, what you need to worry about, and then hopefully you'll go away having a little bit more of an understanding so that you can make some knowledgeable and educated decisions to help you in achieving your goals moving forwards and for the rest of the year. So first of all, what is energy balance? When we talk about energy balance, we're talking about calories in, or the energy that you consume or bring into your body, versus the energy or calories out. Most of the time, we hear about it in terms of weight loss. If you consume less calories than you're expending, then you're going to start losing weight. And the opposite happens as well. If you consume more calories than you're expending, you're then going to start gaining weight. Your body is really good at keeping that balance and making sure that you stay alive. Your body's really doing its best to try and help you and to keep you alive. So when it comes to this energy balance, most of the time we're looking for a calorie deficit because we're trying to lose weight. We're trying to drop body fat. We're trying to improve the way that our body looks. And that's fine. But what happens is that when we oversimplify it, we just worry about consuming less calories and moving more so we can swing the balance in one direction. Often we go too far one way. And what that oversimplification does is it fails to consider the mechanisms of our body that get triggered to counteract the reduction in energy intake. So there's more going in your body, more going on within your body that you don't even know, you don't even notice or realize is going on, that is actually impacting both sides of the equation. So yes, it does come down to, if you're wanting to lose weight, you need to consume less than you're expending. If you're wanting to gain weight, you need to consume more than you're expending. Yes, it is that simple, but we need to make sure we understand what's going on both sides of the scale and what makes up both sides and how we can influence both sides to help us keep achieving our goals and to keep working with our bodies, because our bodies are really, really smart. They're trying to keep you alive. If you're not eating enough, your body's going to do what it can to go, oh my goodness, we're in a famine. What can we do? We need to help you survive, so we're going to preserve energy. Now, let's go back to the basics. So what makes up your calories in? This is the food that you eat. So yes, all the calories, the labels, the things that you see on the labels, how many calories is in your food, that is what makes up your calories in. But there is a few different things that you need to consider here. Most food labels have plus or minus 20% discrepancy, and that's generally accepted. So when you look at your food labels, say it's a banana, or I'm going to go with something that actually has a label, a muesli bar. It's 100 calories. That muesli bar could actually be between 80 and 120 calories, which is quite a lot. That's quite a big discrepancy. There was actually a study done in Australia that looked at food labels and compared that to the actual amount of calories in foods. They did this in the laboratory. And they found that some foods contained anywhere between 13% less and 61% more energy or nutrient components than the packaging stated. So if you're getting really knuckled down and obsessed with exactly what says on the label, you might be wrong. One week you might be eating a muesli bar that's 80 calories. The next week it could be 120. So what you've got to start thinking about is actually what is happening in the big picture. The next part of it is that not all calories are actually equal. Some calories we can't actually get the energy out of because they're stored behind some thicker or different types of cell membranes called fiber. These fibrous cells, our body can't break down those cells and access the energy that's being stored, unfortunately. But we do need to eat fiber for other reasons. So fiber is really good for health reasons, for good gut health, good digestion, and all of that. But unfortunately, we can't actually get the energy out of those cells and use it in our body. That goes on to the next point. The food that you're eating, if you're not able to digest it and assimilate it properly, you can't get the nutrients out of it. So if you've eaten food and suddenly like you get this is maybe a little bit TMI, but we're going to go with it. If you eat something and suddenly you get the runs and it just goes straight through you, do you think you've got the energy out of that food? Probably not. If you eat something and your gut, you can't digest it, your body can't break down the components in that food, and you are pulling out whole foods, do you think you've got the energy out of that food? Probably not. So your digestion and how capable your body is of digesting food and also assimilating that. So that means actually breaking the food down into the components that your body can absorb and then turn into energy. That's really important. So if you can't do that, if your body's your gut isn't functioning properly and you're not breaking down these foods, it's probably just sitting in your gut and then eventually passing through you, and you're not getting anything out of it. So you're missing out on all of this energy. So you might think that you're eating a lot, but if you're not actually able to get the energy or the nutrients out of the food, it's not energy in. The next part, the thermic effect of food. So the different foods that you eat actually require different amounts of energy to digest them, break them down, and then to convert that into energy. Say, for example, if we compare fats and protein is harder for your body to break down and get to the point that it can be energy. Your body doesn't really want to use protein for energy. It wants to use fats and carbs. So if you're not eating any fats or carbohydrates, you're just eating protein, that's great. But your body is going to end up having to use that protein for energy, which isn't really that great. You also need that protein to be doing other things. So we want to make sure that we are eating enough calories of the right types so that we can actually get the right energy and give your body really efficient, usable energy to be able to go about your daily life. And the next part is if you're chronically stressed, if your body is constantly in fight or flight mode, yes, your body is going to you might be consuming all this food, but your digestion slows down because your body is too worried about pumping blood to your arms and legs so that you can run away from something and make yourself safe. So when that happens, again, your gut slows down. You're not digesting that food. You're not able to withdraw and you're not able to get all the nutrients and all the energy out of the food you're actually eating. So when we think about these things, that calories inside of the equation is variable. It's not as straightforward as I need to eat, 2,000 calories because that's how much I'm expending, because that calories inside does change and can vary. And so we need to think about that and keep that in mind when you're planning out your nutrition or your diet for the following week. What makes up calories out? So the calories that your body expends is made up, first of all, of your basal metabolic rate. So this is just how much energy your body needs to survive, to be able to function on a day-to-day basis. That has nothing to do with training. That's literally if you were lying in bed being fed through a tube, not moving, not doing anything, not even thinking, because thinking requires energy. So literally that is your base rate. There are heaps of equations online to work out your basal metabolic rate. And I'll talk about the accuracy of that in a second. But yeah, it's a good place to start. You need to work out your BMI. You need to figure out how much energy your body burns at rest. From there, we then add on the thermic effect of your food, which is about 10% of however many calories you're eating. Then we want to add in your daily life. So that part of that is something called NEAT. And that you've probably, if you've started doing 10,000 steps, you've probably heard of the concept of NEAT. And NEAT is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's any type of physical movement or activity that isn't planned exercise or sports. So this is if you are sitting at a desk all day, but it's just how much energy your body burns to do that. If you're sitting on the couch, the reason people start talking about 10,000 steps is because when you start going into a calorie deficit, your body wants to slow you down. You want to make sure that you're keeping your NEAT up. So steps across the day is a really good way to try and manage or at least quantify how much non-exercise activity that you're doing. On top of that, your recovery, your body actually adapting to your training requires energy. Your training also requires energy. I missed that one. So, if you're burning in it, if you're training. And when we're looking at all these different things, it's really hard to accurately measure any of these things. It's all theoretical. It's all equations. Even like your Garmin, or if you're using a watch, those measure your active calories. That's how much energy your heart rate, they go off your heart rate. So your BMR is like your base, and say your heart rate is higher for certain amounts of the day, they just use equations and a formula to go off how much extra energy you're burning on top of that basal metabolic rate. But that doesn't take into consideration how much energy your body requires to rebuild your muscle, repair from the training that you're doing, build new muscle fibers, build new cell components that you can actually improve your fitness. All these things need energy. And if you're just going off your watch, so if I went off my watch, say, my basal metabolic rate is about 1,500 calories. I worked that out on my own calculator. If I use my watch, it tells me I'm burning about 1,800 to 2,100 calories per day. But that is not enough for me. That's not enough for me to be eating because, like I said, there's all these things that it doesn't actually take into consideration. Plus, the watches aren't that accurate. They bounce around on your wrist, and there's a lot of other things going on. So you have to actually really understand what's going on and all these different things to be able to get a really good idea of what your total energy balance is and how you can manage that to achieve your goals, whether it is fat loss, whether it is weight gain, whether you're just trying to maintain your weight, but you're increasing your training load. So yeah, going back to like the training and stuff, you need to really you need to be considerate about how much energy you are needing to use, and that can change. So if we go back to something that I said at the start, and that was talking about how when we make it really simple and talk about energy balance, energy in versus energy out, and we just go calorie deficit, that's all you need to focus on. It doesn't take into consideration the fact that your body actually does a bunch of different things to counteract you reducing your energy intake. So what your body does when you go into a deficit, and this is often called like starvation mode, or it's got a bunch of different names, but it's basically your body just adapting to keep you alive. So if you suddenly reduce your calories or you suddenly increase your training load and you're in a calorie deficit, your body tries to slow you down to preserve energy and get back to that safe space. Your body's always wanting to get back into homeostasis. And homeostasis is literally just like a thermostat. You set your thermostat on 20 degrees. It's that happy medium. If someone pumps hot air into the room, the thermostat is going to cool it down. If you open a window, you're in the middle of winter, and suddenly all this cold air comes in, the thermostat is going to pump heat into the room to try and get it back to that happy place. All right. So that's what your body does basically to maintain itself and to keep you alive. So if you suddenly increase your exercise or you reduce how much you're eating quite significantly or even a little bit, your body goes, oh shit, we need to get back to our safe place. So if you do that, your body tries to slow you down. You reduce your NEAT. Now, that's why when people are dieting, they talk about their steps, and you want to keep your steps up because you naturally, and you've probably noticed this before, if you go on a diet, you suddenly get tired. You want to lie down a lot. You're suddenly wanting to sleep more. So your body's actually just making you tired to stop you moving so that you stop expending energy. So it's trying to change that energy out and bring it back to match how much you're taking in. Your hunger hormones change. your body makes you hungrier. So that's why you suddenly get sugar cravings. Your body wants that fast energy to get you back into that happy balance, that happy space. Another thing, a lot of people try and lose weight to improve their hormones, which is great to a point. But what happens a lot of the time is that, especially or in both males and females, our reproductive system is controlled by the HPO axis. Yeah, well, that's a female one, that's ovaries. But your hypothalamus and your pituitary glands, they work together to regulate everything that's going on in your body. So if your brain doesn't think that you're getting enough food, your brain will then send all these signals down, and it's like, okay, well, we're not safe. Why would we want to have a baby? So we can downregulate reproductive systems. And so if we're downregulating those hormones, you're not producing as many of those hormones. That is often why when you're not eating enough, we actually end up having more hormonal issues than previously, which kind of contradicts, which frustrates me so much, is that so many people get told like, yeah, you need to lose weight. And yes, you do need to lose, you may need to lose body fat to improve your hormone health, because your fat is a hormone gland or produces hormones, and there's a whole nother thing. But what you actually need to do is get your body into a healthy place where you're consuming enough energy, you're moving your body, and that is when things are going to start shifting. But yeah, if you suddenly reduce your energy intake, or I've said this a lot of times, you know what I'm talking about. We go into that calorie deficit. It causes a lot of hormonal issues because your body doesn't think it's safe to reproduce. So that's one of the systems that slows down. Why would we waste energy on, a healthy reproductive system if it's not even healthy enough for us to survive? Why would we want to make a baby when it's not healthy enough? We're not healthy enough, or the world isn't safe enough for us to survive. And yeah, so a lot of people trying to lose weight actually end up making their hormonal issues worse rather than better. And they're trying to do the right thing, but they're not understanding that your body actually tries to counteract that energy deficit. So hopefully you can kind of see it. It is complicated, but if you work with your body and you try and do things slowly and only do small changes, then you can start to shift the scales or recomposition your body. One last thing I want to talk about is fat loss versus weight loss. So you might think that a diet is working really well for you because you lost 5 kilos in the first couple of weeks because you've cut out carbohydrates, or, you've cut things down really significantly. But what happens is that is just weight loss. When you're trying to improve the way that your body looks, or you want to feel better in your own skin, we need to look at fat loss. Now, if you're just losing weight in the first couple of weeks, I can guarantee that's probably not fat loss. That is weight loss. So say, for example, you cut carbohydrates out of your diet. That's a massive food group. You've suddenly depleted, or you're going to deplete your muscles. You've depleted your body of carbohydrate. Your body stores every gram of carbohydrate with a couple of grams of water. So if you've got rid of that, you're no longer storing all those carbohydrates and that water. You've depleted your energy stores. You'll probably be okay for the first week because you've got stores. After that week, once you've lost all that weight, you're going to feel like shit. And suddenly you're like, well, the diet worked really well at the start and now it's not working. And you feel like that's on you and that's your fault that it's not working. It's not. It's because you've gone into the wrong kind of deficit, and probably too big of a deficit. I find that my most successful clients actually gain a little bit of weight in the first couple of weeks because they're filling back up. Most people have been chronically trying to diet. Their body's depleted. We give them carbs. We give them energy. Their muscles fill up. So yeah, that's weight gain, but it's not fat gain. Once their body realizes that they're training hard and they're in a slight deficit, they start losing fat. You can only lose about 500 grams to a kilo of fat per week if both sides of the scale is really healthy and perfect and everything is going amazing. You're sleeping well, you're hydrated, everything. That's still the most that you can lose. If you're losing more than that, you're probably going to start ending up losing muscle and you're going to start struggling and your energy is going to start tanking. So yeah, bringing back to the whole point, this energy in versus energy out is really, really important to understand. Yes, we want to simplify it, but we don't want to oversimplify it. We want to make sure that we are taking into consideration both sides of the scale and what could possibly be going on. If you create too much of a deficit, suddenly it swings too far one way, your body's just going to swing you back the other way. Whereas if you just do a tiny little bit, you're going to be able to manage and your body's going to be like, okay, I can see what's going on. We can use a little bit of our body fat. We've still got energy to build muscle and repair and give us energy and live our days and keep that NEAT up. It's going to find a new safe space. That homeostasis will slowly start to shift. But if you do it rapidly and we suddenly swing the equation one way over the other, your body just fights to bring it back. And that's why so many people go through that massive yo-yo dieting. And it's really hard to stick to because they're trying and they're leaning too far into that eat less, move more. And they're not considering the fact that your body tries to counteract that. That just triggers your body to do all these different things to counteract that and keep you alive and keep you safe. So, quick recap. Energy in versus energy out. You need to consume more energy than you're expending if you're trying to gain weight. If you're trying to train for performance, you're wanting to be hitting at least maintenance, because you don't want to be risking losing muscle mass because your body is in too much of a deficit. So you need to be eating. And you'll find too, for a lot of people, if they're not eating enough, and they're most of the time, I guarantee they're afraid of gaining weight. But you'll find if you say you're at maintenance, but you're not performing very well, if you eat more, your NEAT, your capacity for training and your ability to recover also increases. So suddenly you're at maintenance, but you're up here. If we eat more and we keep shifting and you can move more and you've got energy to recover, you can be up here on maintenance. You could be eating 3,000 calories and maintaining. Or you could be under eating. You're not able to train that hard. So you're not expending that much energy. You're sleeping all day because you've got nothing. So your energy out keeps dropping. You might be gaining weight on 1,800 calories. So you can see how we can shift both sides of the scale. Guaranteed, it's going to be way more fun living your life up here. Whether you're trying to maintain, whether you're trying to lose a little bit of body fat and recomposition your body, it's really, really important or not important. I think life's way more fun if you can do that if you're eating up here. Your training is going to improve. Your capacity to recover is going to go through the roof. So you're suddenly going to be making so many more gains than you've ever made before, just because you've got enough on that energy inside to balance what you're trying to manage on that energy out. So lots of things going on in your body, but basically it's really important to remember, if you go into a massive calorie deficit, if you bump up your training, you need to keep thinking about what's happening on both sides of the scale. If you're suddenly really fatigued and you're tired, you're not doing anything during the day, but you're still trying to smash yourself in the gym and you're still trying to eat in a calorie deficit, maybe your deficit is too steep and you want to balance the scale out a little bit more, because pretty much if you are massively under eating and you're just trying to push this, your body's just going to slow you down, or it's going to stop producing hormones. You'll lose your menstrual cycle if you're a female. Testosterone tanks if you're a male. Like, all these things drop, and then you're burning energy down here. So you're actually still only at maintenance, or you might be in a surplus because your body's slowed right down and it's not expending energy on the things that you'd like it to keep you healthy and keep you safe. And I don't like going too deep into this as well, but a lot of the time, like trying to get pregnant, we go, oh, well, we want to lose weight because it's better for having a baby. So we eat less, and you've got no energy to produce those hormones that are required to create a baby, to have a healthy menstrual cycle. So yeah, that's just something to think about. Like, what is your big goal? What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to run a marathon and do it well? Are you trying to have a baby? Like, you need to be looking after your body and giving it the nutrients that it needs to do all the things that you want to do. We've got to stop expecting our bodies to run on fumes. And that brings me to my last point, which is you need to learn how to fuel your body. And that's why I created this course, which I'm going to talk about soon. But yeah, hopefully that gave you something to think about. It is definitely a concept that I feel like is spoken a lot about in the fitness industry, especially when you come to the fitness industry because you're trying to lose weight, whether it's for health, whether it's for looks. But it's also something that if you're training for performance that you need to think about as well, because you actually have to understand both sides of the scale to be able to balance things out and to be able to perform at your best. So before I go into my little sales pitch, I just want to say I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. If you got anything out of what I've spoken about, I would love to hear your takeaways. DM me, take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, make sure you tag me however you feel comfortable. But I just want to say thank you. That is most of what I have to say about that topic. Now, if you would like to know more, if you would like more coaching around how to balance out these two sides of energy balance and to help you achieve your goals, I am launching one more round of my How to Fuel course before the end of the year. It will start on the 30th of October. It is going to lead up until the first week of December. So this time round, instead of just doing 3 weeks of educational content, I'm going to combine it with how I used to run my nutrition intakes. So it is going to be a 6-week nutrition intake. At the start, you will get a one-on-one call with me. So we're going to set up your calories. We're going to talk through exactly where you're at and what you need to work on. Halfway through, we'll have another catch-up call. And then you're going to follow the meal plan that is suited to your goals and your lifestyle to help you achieve whatever your goal is before the end of the year. Along the way, I'm also going to include 3 coaching live calls. So similar to this type of training, except you're going to be on the call. There will be people live so you can ask questions, and we're going to go deep into what food is, all the other components that are really important, things like sleep, stress, that type of thing. And then also we're going to talk about how to adjust your goals. So my goal is never to have you relying on me for the rest of your life. I want to give you the tools and the education to be able to make your own nutrition plan and, understand what your body needs to be able to eat well for the rest of your life. So you're not having to, search on Instagram and follow the latest fad. You're going to have a really good deep understanding and knowledge about what your body needs and how to fuel it, so that whether you are trying to chase performance, whether you're wanting to maybe go into small fat loss phase, whether you're wanting to build muscle, or whatever your goal is, even if it's just purely for health, you're going to have a really good understanding to be able to make those decisions for yourself and not have to rely on having a coach or following someone else's meal plan to do that. So that is what the course is about. It's going to be 6 weeks plus a week before, which will be like the one-on-one calls, just to get everyone set up and ready to go. I do check-ins every couple of weeks. We'll do, if you are aiming for like weight loss or weight gain, we will do measurements to check in and see how you're progressing. And yeah, if you've got any questions, make sure you let me know. If you have signed up to this training, obviously I want to thank you and give you an early bird or like pre-sale discount. So the course is officially going to go on sale next week. So we're the 9th of October today when I'm filming this, and whatever a week from now is, I think that's like the 16th. I can't do maths, +7. So 16th of October is when it's going to go on sale. So that is when it's going to go up to its full price. So for pre-sales, it is going to be $444 for the 7 weeks. And then it will go up to $499. So you do get a little bit of a discount to say thank you for jumping on this training. But make sure you sign up before next week. I will be sending it all out to you in an email. And yeah, if you have any questions, make sure you either send me a message on Instagram or send me an email, whatever is best for you. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you soon.